Have you ever had one of those tedious projects where you're like, I'll just get around to it some other day, I don't have time for it? Now that we're in quarantine, I think that this, my Paludarium, which is a 75-gallon tank, is one of those projects that I was just kind of like, I pass it every day and I'm like, there's so much potential, there's so much I want to do with it. I had no motivation and I had no time to do it. But now that all we have is time in quarantine, I think I'm finally going to get around to tackling this project and setting this up to be a beautiful and lush, vibrant setup. So that's what we're going to be trying to tackle today. So stay tuned and we'll show you just that. My name is Nick Pulaski. Growing up, I have always had a passion for wildlife, and with that passion, along with my passion of filmmaking, I get taken on some amazing adventures creating wildlife content, getting up close with a variety of incredible animals. So come follow along as I pursue my goals of educating, inspiring, exploring, and conserving wildlife, all while having fun, seeing the beauty in our natural world. So this is my 75-gallon Paludarium. As you can see, it is a old skeleton of what used to be. It used to be pretty vibrant. As you can see, there are dead leaves in here and dead mosses. That was from prior setups that I had in here before, and I just kind of let the thing die out because I just wasn't feeling like the project was going anywhere, and I kept running into problem after problem. So I eventually scrapped the idea of it. I'm like, I'll put this on hold for a while. Years went by and this thing is set empty and dry and just decaying out. And I was thinking I really want this to be a standout feature because it is a really cool setup and I put a whole bunch of time and effort into this. So like I said before, this is the water setup right here. It's kind of hard to see because of all this calcium and mineral deposits that have built up over the years. I'm going to get that all cleaned out first so you can see this a little bit better. But this is the false bottom right here where all the water will go. It would hold probably, I'd say, a good maybe roughly around 30 gallons of water. And then up here you have all the land feature. So the whole land feature right here, you have the waterfall feature over here, as well as you have the hide over here with this log. So with that log also too, it can actually shoot out mist. And then we also have a drip system plumbed all along the upper edge. So there's a whole bunch of cool components to this that's all linked up and working perfectly. And there was a whole bunch of issues that I was running into and I'm like, it's just too much hassle right now. I didn't have enough time at the time to do it. But like I said, since we're in quarantine, I do have the time to do it. So I think this would be the perfect time to get this up and running so we can get some really cool things growing in here and living in here. So like I said, I had a few different issues with this and you're probably wondering what were the issues. So the main issue with this was when I did have aquatic life in here, like fish that were in here, and I also had some mystery snails and some really cool different species of snails, they were able to somehow, even though this is all netted off with some screening, they were able to somehow get into the back of the false bottom and then they were stuck back there and trapped, and it was really difficult to save the ones that I could save. So it's a whole issue where I don't want to lose any animals or deprive them of anything and get them trapped in the back. I do want to fix this up so it can be something where there is a whole bunch of different lush space back here that you will see once this calcium is all gone. I really want them to utilize that feature. So I don't want to lose anyone and get them all trapped in the back right there. So the big issue right there is where are they getting stuck and how can I prevent that? Because that's the last thing I want to do is get something stuck in the back right there. So I have to figure out how to make sure, I could potentially use this screening again, but I have to make sure with this water feature that there are no escapes where any fish or anything like that can get through. But the sump was also causing me issues where it was actually overflowing the sump and it was actually causing problems where there was flooding on the ground and then the water would run out and then the pump would actually burn out, which thankfully it didn't, but it was coming close. I actually caught it in the nick of time a couple of times. So we actually have to make sure that we get the water ratio down of what we need to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a brand new sump from the ground up and do some tests on it before I really make a finalized sump for this project, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. Now the other weird issue that I actually had with this was I wasn't feeling the creativity with this, and the fact of the matter was I didn't know how to scape this properly. I didn't know what I wanted to actually do with this, so I was just throwing random things in here and seeing what was working in here, what I liked and what I didn't like. So it was kind of one of those things that was up in the air for me. So I wanted to make sure I was doing something that I wanted to actually do in here and make this look the way I wanted it to, because like I said, it's a 75-gallon tank. I did want this to be an iconic piece to look at, so at the end of the day, it is living art. So I wanted to make something really cool and enjoyable to watch. More enjoyable to be watching than TV, I honestly think. So I want to make sure I'm doing this properly. I'm wanting to make sure I'm doing this right, just so I don't get frustrated and just scrap everything inside here. So yeah, those are going to be the big things that we're going to do today, is we're going to make sure that there isn't any escapes into the screening or anything like that. No holes that anything can get through. As well as we're going to work on that sump, and then we're going to fill this up with water and get that rolling. And then also too, what I want to get done is the terrestrial scape of this. Now, you know, in my 29 gallon that I have all that lush greenery growing. I'm definitely going to do an update on that tank too, because that thing is looking amazing, and just seeing how that has grown has definitely inspired me to throw a whole bunch of those plants in here, and there's a ton to prune and throw into here, let me tell you. So we can get this scaped pretty well and get this green pretty much right off the bat. It's just I don't want to overload it at once. I want to make sure all of this works properly so we can get the ecosystem rolling in this thing. But it just takes time, you know. This isn't going to be something I can get done overnight. You gotta let this thing grow out, you gotta let this thing adapt and do its thing. The water column alone, if you guys own any aquariums or anything like that, you know that establishing a water system takes time. So we can't just throw fish in here, we can't just throw animals in here. We don't want to do that anyway. I don't exactly know what I want to put in here. I have a couple ideas. Now, if you have any suggestions that are fish or amphibians or reptile species that you think I should put in here, leave them down below too, because I would love to see some suggestions as well. Like I said, I'm not in any rush to throw anything in here, nor will I throw anything in here in a rush. I want to establish this and get all the plants in here as well too. So just something to enjoy for the time being, but that's I think what we need to start getting done to, is cleaning this all out, getting this to a proper way, making this all look nice, making this all safe. And besides just animal suggestions, if you have other suggestions of what I should do in here, by all means leave them down below. I would love to hear those as well too. So definitely let me know on those as well. But I think I've pushed this off enough, and I think I've talked enough about this. I think it's time to get to work. Okay, so now we're at a point where the silicone is cured overnight, like I said, and then also too, like we dirted this whole thing, and it looks really good. It doesn't look as dead anymore with this new dirt inside here. It looks like it's kind of slowly growing and transitioning, which kind of excites me a little bit more, not gonna lie, because before, like, just looking at this thing dead, I mean, it was something, just give it a quick glance and then you move on, but now seeing this thing kind of get back into motion, it's pretty exciting. So, like I said, silicone's all done, fingers crossed, we are going to hope that all this stays sealed. It should. I don't see any concerns. I think we got all the holes that were causing issues. So now, with that being said, what we're going to do now is we're going to fill this with water, do a water test on here, see how everything flows and functions again. We're going to eventually have to redrain it probably and kind of maneuver things around and aquascape it and do everything. Or we may keep the water in, I'm not entirely sure yet. And then we're going to plant all this out up top here. And I have a whole bunch of plants I can just throw in here right now, so we're going to do that as well too, so let's do that. Alright, so really cool, really exciting to see some water go in here. Obviously there's going to be a whole bunch of gunk and debris that I'm going to have to like take out and scoop out and everything like that. Not an issue, that'll take 2 seconds. But this is going to be the first step of doing this. So we're doing a water test right now, making sure the silicone is all intact and everything like that. It should be. I really did a good silicone job like a year ago on this thing, so I don't see that being an issue on this guy. But we're going to make sure that all this is fine and holding well. It should. I don't have any issues with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scape all this. So I'm going to scape all the terrestrial plants first, get that all out of the way, see how I'm envisioning that, and then from there what I'm going to do is I'll start pumping in some of the aquatic plants that I have too, and get that growing as well and thriving in here. So by the end of this habitat should be kickstarted. So we should be in a pretty good spot with this. But after being a shell of what was for years, we're going to get this thing ramped up and going for us. So pretty exciting stuff. All right, look at that. We got water in here. I cleaned it out a bit. Still got a little bit more to clean out, but I'll do that in a bit. But yeah, so we got the water in here looking really nice, looking really pristine in here. You can see a little bit of tannins in the water, but nothing too bad. So what we're going to do now actually is we're going to turn on the pumps. We're going to get the water feature going with the waterfall and get this river system going too and let that clean itself out and do its thing. Then we'll do another recleaning of the water feature itself in the reservoir. But we're going to let this thing kind of naturally cycle itself and begin that process, and then we'll start putting in plants. Pretty cool stuff, so let's do it. The water's coming out real fast right now. We're going to turn that down. As you can see, instantly the water pressure goes down. I think that's a pretty decent start. But it divides up, as you can see, so it goes down this way, which is the main way, and then it also has this log way right down here, so that leads to the river. Alright, so not too bad for just getting this rolling and everything like that. I mean, there's a huge initial step, like you saw. We got the river going. We pruned my other tank, which was a big thing too. So we got back to, we got all the plants from that. But yeah, that 29 gallon was actually a really good idea to have that thing grow out and become like a plant nursery for this tank right here. So the 75 gallon paludarium is one of my like babies that I kind of gave up on for a while, not gonna lie. Years, I must say. But I don't want that to be the case. I want this to be thriving. I want this to have a cool water feature down here with some cool fish. And then have like a really cool terrestrial side right here and have some sort of cool species of like reptile or amphibian up here. Let me know down in the comments too if you have any suggestions both for the water feature or the terrestrial feature up here. We're not going to put anything in here for a while. As you can see, it's going to take some time, honestly. And I think when I do finally, if I do put any like sort of animals inside this thing, I think I may do something too with the 29 gallon. Haven't decided yet. So let me know suggestions for both tanks. But yeah, this is going to be my next project right here. Quarantine's the perfect time to do this, so we're getting this rolling out. It's super exciting, I must say. I mean, getting this water feature going and everything like that, I mean, this was a lot of work. I wish I still had, I may still have the footage for this, but this was a lot of work to build. And I hate just seeing it just like sit there dead. Really excited to see these plants start growing in here and get rooted in the system. That's going to be the next step, is letting this thing root out. May put some logs down here too and everything like that, like I did in the past. Not sure yet, we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching today's build. If you could do me a couple favors, if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel, as well as hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. And also too, make sure you check me out on my social media. I've been posting some really cool things about this feature itself, so some really cool things to check out there and updates there too. But yeah, like I said, really excited about this build, really excited to take you guys along it. If you have any questions, leave them down below, or any suggestions. If you want to say anything, just leave a comment. And until next time, I will see you guys soon.